What in the actual hell is holding you in? Good afternoon and welcome to another video with a guy and his projects. Today we are working on the F250, the 2004 Ford F250 6.0 liter diesel V8 engine 4x4, and we have some bad wheel hub bearings. So the story on this one is actually on the trip from Arizona to South Dakota. Right about the time we were almost through Colorado, I started developing this humming noise, and I didn't know what it was. Wasn't gonna pull over and stop and look. It was a consistent hum, never went away. Just anytime you're driving, you have a hum. And the only time it would disappear is if you were turning hard to the right or the left. It would disappear for a minute. So I was kind of leaning towards the hubs, the bearings. I didn't know that, I didn't test it, I didn't pick it up off the ground. We got here to South Dakota and we were in a hotel, so again, no jack, no nothing. Well, I had a jack, but not really any resources per se. So I hadn't looked at it, it wasn't getting worse. I kept driving it, drove it to and from work for a week before I went home and got the Titan. Got the Titan up here, still in a hotel, so not worried about the F250. Well, as it turns out, the Titan now has issues. Just dropped it off at the mechanic. It's Sunday. They're not even going to look at it till tomorrow. They're not even open. I just dropped my keys in the box kind of thing. Titan is down. This has to be my daily driver for a little bit. Need to get these hubs taken care of. I jacked it up this morning just to verify, and the passenger side's pretty decent. The driver side, though, has quite a bit of play in it, so we're going to go ahead and replace those. I'm going to link those down below, the new hubs and bearings assembly. So let's do this. And get this over here. All right, now whatever I attack first doesn't mean that has to be first. It's just what I'm attacking first. First thing I want to do is remove the brake caliper. Then we're going to remove the hub, well, the rotor. So brake caliper, rotor, hub assembly, and then the whole bearing assembly after that. And that's all there's to it. It's actually pretty easy. So first thing we're going to do is, so you have your caliper, it runs up. You have two bolts on your caliper right here. On the upper side, you got the big one and the smaller one. We're gonna take off the big one, and then there's another one right here. I have no idea what I'm looking at because I just turned the camera the other way, but if I see it on the camera, I'll draw you a picture to where that bolt is. But for now, we're just gonna grab our 21mm with a ratchet. Everybody loves this thing. I will link it down below. The reason people love it is it's an extendable. For one, so you get your leverage. Boop. Two, it is a 3/8 size and a 1/2 inch size over here. So it's dual-sided, so it fits whatever you need. It also doubles as a hammer according to the ad. You can hammer on these flat sides here. And yes, I have tested that out and it works great. So anywho, I'm gonna jump on this here first. Loosey-toosey, which would be this way. Okay. Oh boy. Oh boy. Leverage. There we go. Okay. All right, these caliper hangers I'll link down below as well. They are awesome. Take a caliper hanger. I find that this hole right here in the frame works out perfect. I gotta hope it lets go of the rotor. There we go. Superman it off of the rotor and hook it into your caliper hanger. There we go. Now all that stands between us is a bunch more small bolts, a couple big nuts, and we're out. So next you're gonna pull your rotor off. I'm from Arizona, haven't been in South Dakota more than a couple weeks, so no rust issues yet. If you have to, just use a hammer and blow this thing off. For me, it just slides off. So now we got to remove the locking hub assemblies. If you have the stock Fords, I have no idea what size you are. These are the worn hubs, and they use a 9/64 Allen key. Why they can't use something normal? No idea. The light is blinding me. All right, you're gonna pull that out. That's what you got. I'm gonna set that aside. Try not to lose everything. It makes your life miserable later. All right, you're gonna keep two of those bolts handy. But in the meantime, you're going to find a screwdriver, flathead, and I'm gonna do, oh, I can see it right there. So there's this spring in here. It's like a spring washer. If it's too greasy and gnarly and you can't see that lip right there, I just take my flathead and scratch all the way around, feel for the bump, which would be right there. Toot, toot. So I might have to put the camera down again because of two hands issues. But if you can go in there and catch it, now you're gonna look at it, obviously, please look at it. All right, so all you gotta do is get in there. And I'm at the wrong angle. And you're gonna pop it down. It's in there to hold everything in place. So there's a ridge, you gotta pop it under the ridge. So if you get in there, get it down like that. Can you see? There we go. Okay, I might do it one-handed after all. And you're just gonna kind of pull it out. Now this feels wonky, especially when you go to put it back in, but it's all right, it's all by design. So that's out. The easiest way to go about the next part I found is you're just gonna thread two of these in, not all the way, just a couple threads, just enough to bite in. And then you won't be holding a camera, so you can just use one hand or two hands. I'm just gonna go in there and just tug that free. And there you go. Okay, so the next thing is everybody's favorite, is that snap ring right there. So that snap ring has to come out. Now there's a trick I've learned doing this. That trick is to simply get a good pair of snap ring pliers. This will solve all of your snap ring problems with this truck. Everybody that's complained on Facebook, YouTube, online, everywhere else, the forums, just get a good quality pair of snap ring pliers. This will be the 5th time I've done this on a various F250. Never once an issue. I will link these down below. Go buy them, help me out. I get a little something something when you buy them. All right, so I'm gonna go in here. I can't hold the light, the pliers, and the camera, so it's gonna be dark. In fact, I can't even see in there. But essentially, learn how snap ring pliers work and go in there and pull that out. Just go in there, go there. I can't see. Maybe if I turn this over, it'll be better. Getting good grips. The main thing, once you get a good grip, out she comes. All right, so put that somewhere. The next thing you're gonna have is 3 of these bad boys. You're gonna have a flat washer, and you're gonna have one of these hexagonal weirdo washers. One of those. And then you're gonna have another round washer if you can get it out, which I can't one-fingered. So that one, that's also gotta come out. And there's your other washer. So at this point, honestly, you're almost there. All you gotta do is remove the hub, almost. I lied, we gotta do one more thing first. So let's do that. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is grab your 8mm socket. So because we're replacing the whole hub, you don't gotta worry about the connection here. You just gotta worry about the connection here. So we're just gonna go in, 8mm on this. Okay, got that little bolt. Probably lose it, but try not to. And you just gotta unclip it from this random wires around here. And then some doofus, myself, has this zip tied in up here, so let me grab some side cutters and we'll get rid of those. All right, so that is now free. We can pull this here, and this is a simple depress and pull situation. Boom, done. All right, we have now reached such a time as to get the hub off. The hub bearing assembly, not the hub locking hub, but the hub bearing assembly. We are at that point. So all you're gonna do, it's all fairly easy, and this is another 21mm, I believe. The back of your hub, you're gonna have 1, 2, and then 2 more on the other side as well. Nuts that are holding this system on. The best and easiest way I found to get to them is either one, you pop the tie rod off. So you just remove this cotter pin, move the nut, pop the tie rod off, and then you can swivel this at will to get to these nuts. Or what I do, because I'm too lazy to do that, is I go in, turn the ignition on, and then spin the steering wheel one way, roll those 2 out, spin the steering wheel the other way, roll those 2 out. So, and we're gonna spin the steering wheel all the way, one way or another, and turn it back off. So then the only thing that might be in your way are these U-joints, but as long as your hub was unlocked, you can just spin these out of the way so you can get your socket in place. whichever you got to do. So again, 1, 2 nuts in there, you can't miss them. I don't think I can show you. If I can, I'll try and point it out on camera in the video, but that nut and then one down there. To get in there, my impact sockets are usually too thick, so I use a 6-point, not a 12-point, a 6-point shallow, or not shallow, thin-walled socket, and not an impact, because I'll just destroy you. Make sure you're on the loosened setting. Find the nut. See, that's where that's handy. See that? So you can struggle all day. Short, get a little more, get a little more. And there we go. All right, got both nuts on that side. Now we're gonna move over. Okay, there's all 4. Now, I might have to sledgehammer this off with a nut on the back of the stud, or if you're from Arizona, you can just wiggle the sucker off. Or almost wiggle it off. There should not be anything holding you in. She's just playing hard to get. Maybe feels promising now. Come on. Why are you not coming off? We're about to get angry over here. What do I have to do to make you come off? I don't know what I'm about to do, but it's about to get ugly. All right, so I think I figured out my problem. It's not actually the bearing. I just happened to notice that this axle shaft is off-centered. Oh, I got it too far out now. There you go. So it's off-centered and it's stuck to the hub. It is seized to the hub. So even though that the hub is unlocked, we're still seized and that axle is spinning. So I think I need a new front axle shaft stub in addition. So I'm pulling this whole thing out right now. Yeah! 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 Okay. All right. Woo! So now I gotta go see if I can find a front axle stub shaft somewhere in town. If not, we'll have to rob it off of the junkyard one, which I'd rather not do right now, but either way, right now, we're at a point where we can put the hub back in without the axle, but I'd rather not do that. Okay, so to summarize, the stub axle is seized into the hub assembly, not working, so new plan is to rob it off of the Jeep axle. If you get bored, I could use a cameraman. So it just so happens that we have the exact same axles for the Jeep, which are obviously not in yet, and they have axle shafts. So with any luck, we're gonna steal this one, pull it out, put it in the truck, and all should be well. We'll see. So before we can do anything with this, we need to pull this shaft off and put a new one on because, well, actually for now, maybe we will leave it. Shall we see what it looks like? Let's see what it looks like when it goes in. So to answer my own question, if you're replacing that, yes, you should replace it, the seal. For right now, this moment, I don't know how old this U-joint is in there. We're gonna replace that eventually anyway. So ultimately, once I get the Titan back, I'm gonna rip this back apart and do this correctly with new parts instead of borrowed and used. So for now, I'm gonna reuse the current axle seal that's in there, and we'll revisit again, like I said, later when we get a new piece to go in. So for now, let's put this in. Just because you missed that, all I did is I just slid this in. All right. Okay, once it sits in place, we're gonna grab our axle shaft seal installer, which I will link down below. All you do is just set it in there, hold some pressure on it, and hammer her home. And now you know she's set at the right depth. There we go. Now she's set to the right depth. Pull that out, voila. Now, we're actually ready for the new hub. So if you didn't have a bad axle before, you could have just been already at this point, but we're not. So let's grab the new hub. All right, so this is the new hub. Like I said before, I'll link it in the description below. Nice and shiny. I don't mean to be rushed. I'm just trying to get this done so I can go to work in the morning. Oh! So mine came with a pigtail. Again, I will link these down below. So you gotta get your pigtail all situated. Comes with a little plastic cover right here you want to take off. There we go. And now we are technically just about ready to install. So if you see right here, you have a seal. Make sure that rubber O-ring is there. They sell kits just for the O-rings. Mine came with them pre-installed. Super nice. Usually they're yellow. This one's black. I don't really care. So the next thing of importance, I've never read the instructions on this. I don't know. These are your needle bearings for the axle shaft. Those are going to ride right here on this bad boy. So you want to make sure this is super clean. All this clean, and then I want to grease the heck out of here. I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. This comes with studs. You're going to grab the studs. And the studs are going to thread on in the back of here. This is what the nuts are going to go on behind the knuckle. I don't have torque specs because I don't have a way to torque these down. I suppose you could thread a nut on there and jam them down. I've never done that. All I do is grab my channel locks and tighten until I can't tighten anymore. It's usually about a quarter turn more than I did by hand. Just don't mess up your threads. So now we're almost ready to get installed. So before we get installed, gotta come over here and snake your, of course, you shouldn't have all this axle stuff on there. So yours should come right out. But me, I gotta fight all this crap. There we go. There we go. So at this point, this is where we get greasy. Again, I've never read the owner's manual to figure out what you're supposed to grease and what you're not. I just know that moving parts like grease. So I'm just gonna take this and kind of slather some around where those needle bearings are gonna roll. And furthermore, because I'm overzealous, I'm gonna put them on the needle bearings as well. So your dust shield The round portion is going to go towards the front bumper because the caliper is going to sit back here. So I'm just going to slide that over. You're going to get grease if you grease like me, because I like grease. So just watch your fingers. Just like so. Now your ABS line can just hang wherever. Bright shiny new dealio. Now you have to look for the nuts you threw around earlier when we were pissed off. We got one. I'm not sure what the torque spec is here right now because I didn't look it up because I was in a hurry, but I will post it on the bottom of your screen. For us, it's right about there, right before you bust a vessel. Just be careful when you're tightening these. We're only doing one side at a time instead of corners because of access, and I'm in a hurry. If you do tighten one side, make sure that the other side tightened up with it. If not, you have to go corner to corner. Ours actually went really nicely and tightened up the way it was supposed to, because it's not rusted yet. South Dakota will probably change that in a year or two, but right now it's not. Okay, here we go. Almost blood vessel popping tight. Now we're gonna straighten this back out so we can do the wrist. Remind me to take care of that later. All right, washer on first. Wonky looking washer on second. Regular looking washer on third. If you're supposed to grease those, let me know in the comments. Okay, and then snap ring pliers. Highly recommend this set, as I said before, linked in the description below. Just make sure it doesn't fling loose and hit somebody in the face. If it's not going on straight the easy way, use a flathead to help. Okay, so mine seated perfectly the first try. You can see this gap right here. It needs to be about that big. This is a flathead screwdriver. I cannot fit it even close to fitting in. I know that because the passenger side, I couldn't get the seat, and the width was about that width, and it was not set. So make sure you're super tight. Make sure you're in. If you're not, you're going to cause problems. I will link something like this in the description below. I don't know how much grease you're supposed to do. I've never looked it up. I've never watched another video where they told you. But I like grease, and metal on metal contact is typically somewhere you want grease. So this was a $15 tub of grease. I'm not worried about the money. I am worried about not enough grease, so we are going to make sure there is enough grease. Try not to get in this little lip like I just did, because it's going to make it messy later, because you got to put that stupid little washer in there. Okay, so this, before we put it in, you just want to do your due diligence, get all the nastiness off. So once that's semi-clean, same trick we used before, 2 screws, and you're just going to have to line it up and push it in. Once you get it in, and take your 2 screws out. So this, you're just going to do your best. The hardest part is starting. Once you get it in, you're just going to kind of hold it in with your thumb and then loop it around 1 coil at a time until it's all clipped in. Yeah, so what was happening, I guess, I didn't even notice, is the axles only spin if you lock these in. And this one was so seized to the hub that it was spinning the axles with or without this. So we're just going to line this up. Doesn't matter which hole. Yes, it does. It's got these little lips, got little holes. So just find out which one it fits in nice. All right, so now we're just going to attach all of our rubbers to our dry rotted plastic and hope it don't break. You're going to connect your 2. Boop. And hope we don't have a check engine light now. So grab your caliper. Hopefully it goes back on easier than it came off. Do not drop this. I have gotten underneath before so that I could see it. I do not recommend that because I dropped it on my face. You want to make this a little easier on yourself, just grab a C-clamp. And we're just going to manually push the piston back in. And we're not pushing this all the way in, we're just pushing this in a little tiny bit, just so that we can put it back on the stupid caliper. So I'm literally giving it like 1 turn. and I'm backing it off so that I don't freak myself out later when I don't stop when I hit the brakes. Oh! Now look how much easier that goes on. Okay. Okay, we're gonna do the upper one first, only because it's easier to see. So I can line it up. Tight. If you're about as weak as I am, 2 grunts is perfect. If you're weaker, 3. If you're stronger, 1. Or that. Too bad it probably didn't turn out. Let me see more funny if it actually worked. Ouch!
That land on your leg?
Yep.
Ouch.
A little bit weak. I'm fighting with those. Excellent. Ah, pain in the butt. Sounds a lot quieter. Alright, that's what that was supposed to be all there is to replacing the hubs on your F250 4-wheel drive solid axle. I got more involved with the whole seized axle and the hub system thingy dealio. We'll figure that out later. For now, we got the spare Jeep axle in there. Glad I got one. So, when I told you guys before that I went with the 99 to 04 axles for the Jeep, even though it has a wider turning radius, my reasoning, if you'll remember, and I should have video proof, I said, if I ever need a part for the truck, I can steal from the Jeep. And today, we needed a part for the truck, and we stole from the Jeep. So, my philosophy turned out to be perfect, worked out great, super glad I did. If you guys liked what you saw today, make sure you hit the thumbs up, greasy, wash it before you hit thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button so you can see more, and if you feel inclined, donate via PayPal or Zelle down below. Check out my links. I've got all the products we used today linked in Amazon. I do get a small kickback, so that is appreciated. Thanks guys, we'll see you next time.